$52.81. Road use, $5,498.46. Tax increment financing, $181,231.68. Water, $12,376.99. Sewer, $8,617.91. Risk management, self-insurance, $820.87. Flex account, $355.63. And agency funding, $55. Any discussion? Roll call.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Motion carried. Committee reports. Finance. Rod, you got
I
anything?
have nothing new, sir.
Anybody have anything for finance?
Interesting TIF report from Leslie.
That is. We'll have it on the next meeting for approval to send to the state. We went to a meeting yesterday and those were supposed to be sent to the state, but the state won't punish anybody for being late this year. Streets.
I don't have anything. Randy, you?
I don't have anything tonight.
Dan?
I do not. What was that stuff you was having to sweep up at the end of the day, Randy? Do you know? Boys were having to, maybe you don't know. They were down at West Burlington Avenue and Mount Pleasant.
I believe it was wood
sweeping up a whole
chips.
bunch of stuff.
Wood chips that fell out of, the officers got a call on, and the city crews were there before the officer arrived, was already cleaning it up.
Oh,
so
really?
somebody
What
had
time was
spotted
that?
it. It was getting closer to 4.
Really?
Right in that
3:30,
area.
3:45.
Yeah.
Around 3:30.
Yeah, it was wood chips. They'd
Okay. I
fallen
just seen
out.
there was stuff all over the road, and we had 3 trucks there and guys out with shovels and brooms. And
Yep. And that's what it was.
Anything else for streets?
Yeah, let's talk about those street lights again. They're not getting fixed very fast.
Okay.
Can we just put a deficit on how much we send them per month until we get a little faster response? I mean, I was driving and looking at Christmas lights, and they were brighter than our street lights. We've got several out in major corners still.
Okay.
That one down there by Rick still, and then there's one here on the corner of Broadway and in Houston, and there's several more on West Burlington Avenue. It's like, how long does it take those boys to get out here and get these lights done?
You know, he stopped by our office and talked to us. He was working on them presently, and that was about a month ago.
Uh-huh. Well, either we've
Or
got a
longer.
new list going and he's not aware of it, or they're moving kind of slow.
He wanted some clarification on a few lights, and that's when we came up with a system that next time we check it, that we put an orange banner. I can send my guys back around again and do that and put that orange banner so he knows exactly what pole we're talking about, but I thought the list that I turned in was pretty clear.
Just
Well,
give me
can we
one of those
deduct
orange
$2,000
banners.
off of our bill until they start paying? I mean, it's been a long time that we've been working on these lights.
Actually, Nancy's here from Alliance tonight.
Well, bless your little soul. Aren't you glad you came tonight?
She's gonna give us an update on another issue, but I do have a list of those streetlights, so I'll just give it to you and you can take a look at it.
Then I don't need the 14 ribbons to put around that pole, so
We need to, I think that we still wanna continue that, cause
For
that's
every
been what they've
week.
worked out, the repair crew has worked out with the police department.
It just seems like it takes forever to get a bulb changed or whatever's wrong with them. I mean, we pay a substantial amount for streetlights and we keep adding more, and I'm afraid to keep adding more because there's going to be more sitting in the dark. You know, at some point, do we start deducting these costs for these lights when they don't
I wanna
operate?
listen before I respond. But it does help to communicate, because the more we are aware of things, the more, of course, we can address them and work together. And it does sound like at least we're having a dialogue with you about the concerns. I don't want to sound like this is an excuse, but with the Hurricane Sandy, we had some crews that we sent out east, so we were a little shorthanded locally. And while this is a priority, you know, I can't speak to the crew's workload locally. They may have been spread a little bit thin, but I certainly can speak with the operations manager. Now that we've got everybody back in-house, we can escalate this a little bit. I hope that you are using the online reporting system, because what that does, it goes right to the guy's tough book in his truck. And that way it doesn't have to go through dispatch and all that. When the street lights are put in on the online reporting, it goes straight to the trouble notes truck, okay? But, Chief, if you're working specifically with one of the guys and you have your own system, you know, certainly I think that that has some value, and I wasn't part of that discussion, so I don't know what you've worked out with him.
Okay.
But it does also help for them to flag it when they've made a repair, because they can kind of see if it's a limit, if it's the same one that keeps coming back all the time, you know. But, yes, you do pay for these, and because you're paying per unit and not per kilowatt, you are correct. It's the same
Paying for
cost
dark
if you're in
lights.
the dark or not. So we certainly want to help you address those any way we can. And I would be happy, certainly, come over with Tracy and maybe even bring Tom Brack, the foreman. Is that who you're working with, Chief?
I'm not actually. Kelly's the one that faxed in the sheet, weren't you?
Okay.
Katie did, but I didn't talk to the.
We just talked to the repairman. He stopped by with that sheet that was faxed in and asked for some clarification.
Okay.
And I asked him somehow, can we make it easier so he knows what it is? And he said, you know, I thought it'd be great if you just tied something orange, and when we got it replaced, we'd take that off so you knew they were there. So he explained some things about what lights are not
Well, I'm
his
glad that
responsibility.
we're communicating about it, because clearly we do care. We just want to make sure that we can.
What was the date, Kelly? That was
Focus
first
on
fax.
this and maybe.
This was a list of 31 lights that were out, that we used the email system on October 9th.
Okay.
So I'll
I'll
just
be
leave it
happy to
with
follow
you.
up too, but you know, that was right around the storms when we
Yeah.
sent the guys. They're back now.
Before Sandy,
Yes,
Well
4
before.
to 5 weeks before Sandy.
okay,
We had some people call, and they said that they would take care of it 4 to 7 days,
okay.
okay?
And
And so then when we with the list, then I made sure that that one was on the list, and that's been quite a while ago.
well, it sounds like.
But that was definitely before Sandy.
And Dan, you know how to find me. I'm available. Anything like this, please.
Yeah, I've been meaning to call you, and I
Call
was
me.
surprised when you walked in, but
No.
I come through the mall last night, I was gonna ask you to check on the progress of that new light that
Okay.
they're supposed to put in. I know everything was a go and it was supposed to get put in, but it probably got slowed down because of the storm, but just check on it for me and get back to me, it'd be
Follow up.
great.
Yes, sir. Well, this worked out well. I'm glad I was here to hear some of these concerns.
So you can make a submission online for street light out, because we have internet access in the squad car, and it'd be easy for the third shift officer just to submit that in when he sees it out, or the second shift officer.
I'll send you the link.
Please do.
Katie has it as well. And when people call.
Okay, we'll just make favorites in their internet in the squad car, and they can just pull it up and report it when they see it.
It reminds me of that story about the guy who doesn't fix his roof. He can't go outside because it's raining. Well, then when it's not raining, his roof doesn't need to be fixed. But those lights, of course, when the crews are, you know, working 7 to 3, you can't tell that there isn't something out, if it's out there during the daylight. So we really appreciate, you know, the proactive reporting. Very helpful.
My question is, if one of the officers send in one that's privately owned, will they was saying some of the street lights above the traffic lights, he says are not theirs. They're actually the city's. So that would be to Randy, I would assume.
Yeah, they would know that.
Okay.
Also, there's some that residents put up on poles,
Right, and
like in
residents
the
say.
alleys or whatever.
Right, they can buy, we don't call it a street light, we call it a security light. And it is very much the same thing, they're charged
thing,
per light, right.
Okay, anything else for streets? Public safety. Took care of half of public safety on the streets.
I don't have anything, but our chiefs are here.
I have nothing.
Wish I could say that.
I know.
All right, Pro Motorsports, building framing is completed, metal siding and roofs are on. They're installing the interior walls, and they're getting ready to start wiring the building. Klein Center, the sprinkler system's been tested and completed and is in service. Fire alarm system's about a week out for installation. Fire marshal representative and myself been conducting inspections and coming up with short punch lists on each one, and they're being repaired. Most of it's been above the ceilings. I'm inspecting it several times a week as they call me. We're looking at construction, looking for construction problems, fire safety issues, and ADA compliance. Completion is about 1 month or less out. Deary Brothers have been dealing with a propane versus natural gas issue for the storage building out back, the east side of the main building. They've got some piping issues, LP storage issues, and different on-site issues, and they don't know if they want to go natural gas or furnace yet, so I'm working with them on trying to come up with the most economical way to fix that. And the steel framing is almost completed on the front of the building. Ortho rehab at the hospital, all rough-in plumbing and electrical for the floor is completed. They've poured a lot of the main floor, and they're continuing to put the steel frame up, and all building footings have been completed. Conducted some new rental inspections and liquor license inspections, and tender top of water out on 406. All walls and framing are done. Roof trusses and stuff go on this weekend. On the fire side, promotional testing is going to take place in January for the open positions that we do have. The Explorer program has been up and running now for about 4 months now. We do have 4 young adults involved. They have assisted us in public relation events, and they are following the Firefighter 1 training. Next council meeting under SAFER, I have another probationary firefighter to put on and his equipment. We have 2 pending, and I look for maybe to put them on in January or February, so that process is going well. We have had a radio issue for some time since we went in narrow banding in June. A lot of the county chiefs are still talking about issues of non-communications on fire scenes that could result in death and injury to our firefighters. We are going to put in a formal complaint to FEMA, see if we can get a third party to come out and look at these radios. These are the Vertec radios and the mobiles and the portables. We've reprogrammed them 3 times, and getting ready to reprogram a 4th, and we still have issues with communications. I've sent 2 letters to Alexis on warranty issues that are about to run out, one on the rescue and one on engine 3. They have received the letters, and I have been in contact with them. Auto Aid, Burlington and West Burlington chiefs are working towards an agreement that Dan talked about in his last Friday memo to you guys. We are working to meet 1710 and 1720, which is basically the manpower on the scene of the fire or major incident. Both city managers are behind us, and we're still in the process. Last item I've got is the new fire hose that failed 3 months ago or 2.5 months ago when we got all the fire hose in. The 3 sections have been replaced that we failed, and they were tested today, and they all passed. And that's all I got.
I have anything for public safety. Utilities.
I don't, Reedy.
I don't really have anything on water, but we've been working up the middle school. We've got the water disconnected for the middle school. There's 3 sewer lines that serve the school. We've got 1 disconnected. Next week we'll get the other 2 taken care of. I don't know when a good time is to bring this up, but we need to set a date when we can get people interested in purchasing things, set up a day to walk through and see who wants to buy what, because once the asbestos abatement's taken care of, it'd be nice to just have whoever the contractor is that's going to do the demo come in, and before we can even do the asbestos, we need to have the building emptied out. So within probably, what would you say, 2 weeks, Dan, they're going to want to be in there?
Yeah. They need some information and give the DNR their 10-day notice, so it may be pushed back a few days depending on how quick he gets that to them. But and he's looking to only be a 10-day job, so he'll be in and out.
So how do we need to proceed then with getting rid of that stuff in there? What are the ideas? I know we put some things on Gov Deals.
Yeah, there's a few other little things. I think the idea was to give people a chance to walk through and see if they wanted additional items, because right now we don't know what people might want, you know, with a few things we know about, but some other ones we don't. Give them a day to look at it, and then have people give us bids on that, and like the next day or the day after, and give them just a few days to get it out, and go from there.
I would just go ahead and set a date, like a week from Saturday, for people to go through, and they wanna get some of that stuff, bid on it. They got Saturday and Sunday to think about it and submit the bids by Monday and get it out by the following weekend, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Sounds good to me.
Have everything out there by the first of the year. It's done with.
Well, but will that push our asbestos removal back?
It shouldn't. He can start
okay.
upstairs, well, even while we're getting stuff out downstairs. He says that's not going to slow him down a bit. He's going to start when he's going to start. So, because the tile is what's going to take the longest, and he's got a lot of work upstairs that he can do.
So next Saturday be the 15th, and yeah, that should work. Give them till the 22nd to get it out. Have them bring their sealed bids by and drop them off at the counter and open them up Wednesday.
And so what if people don't give bids on those items? What are we gonna do with them?
Go to the landfill. Whatever's left is gonna go in the back of a dump truck and it'll be gone.
Because you want it all gone before the asbestos
It needs
guy.
to be completely emptied so that when because they have to go in and clean up all the dust, and once they tear everything out, they have to contain everything up there.
We might want to move that. We might want to move that ahead a week or so because if a week notice is enough to get word out to people, because that's going to push us in. If we're pushing into the 20th something, that's about the time they're going to be finishing up. So if he starts the 14th, he's only going to be 10 days. He'll be out of there before Christmas. And I imagine he only has a few days work upstairs he can deal with. So we might want to move that up a week if we think we can get word out to people in that short amount of time.
Well,
Is it possible to get it in the paper and have people come on Saturday?
This Saturday?
Sooner or better.
They're not gonna be able to.
Put it
get
in there and see.
They're not gonna get in the paper by Saturday.
you don't think they could get it in a Hawk items Friday, Saturday?
You can get in Hawkeye apps.
Yeah.
Probably can't do your official notice stuff. I understand that you're used to having to doing, but I bet you could call down and maybe get something in Hawkeye apps, but it's gonna be pretty tight, this being Wednesday.
So if we could have it on Saturday, and then they have to have bids in by Monday, open on Wednesday, and then they have to have it out by the 15th.
Or it doesn't have to be on a Saturday. Could we do it during a week?
Yeah, I wondered,
Doesn't matter to me.
that was my first thought was, do you really want to have to man that place on a Saturday?
That's true.
I mean, that might be the best for the customer, but might not be the best for the people that are having to man it.
We
to
want
have
to try to
it
get
open.
it in and have it like next Tuesday or Wednesday rather than Saturday.
Yeah.
Give them a few more days to.
Gives you more time
But
for
either way,
notice.
you're gonna have it after hours. Some people are working during the day.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Somebody might want to bid on, and I really don't know what there is in there to bid on. I earned a couple of solid wooden doors.
So is there anything in there that's worth this bidding process?
It might be. It's going to be worth a lot more to that person than.
Gold.
I know of one taxpayer that wants to buy 2 interior doors and asks me about it about weekly.
That's like I said, there's.
It's not a big
Doors.
deal, but, it's not a big deal, but.
There's one teacher that wants a bookcase.
And there's a
glass
teacher who would
door.
like to dismantle a bookcase and take it out. And there's a guy that fixes furniture that, if them boards are still on them bleachers, and I don't know if they are or not, but he's interested in tearing them boards off them bleachers. It's not a big deal, but
The only thing of value in there is probably that scoreboard, but it still works.
It does work.
That's up on GovDeals.
Did you
as of
put that on
today.
GovDeals?
It's
Okay.
up on theirs
Yeah.
today. I see there was one exact same model and everything sold 2 years ago for $100, so.
Oh, jeez.
You know, it's only probably good for somebody, a man room or a
It's a
sports
little
bar or
big,
something.
it's a little big
It's a
for
little
my
big
garage.
for that,
I
yeah.
know.
But, you know, if somebody had a bigger area, it'd be kind of neat, decorative piece.
the old clock on like we talked
Oh, yeah, those are, there's a guy who's got one up there for $5,000. Nobody's bidding on it, but it's got the round clock hand that goes around.
So do we want to do this like Monday or Tuesday next week?
When-
Well, I would say by Monday, because we really need to have the stuff out of there by the weekend.
Okay, well, let's do it Monday night. And take bids on Tuesday. They'll give us this weekend to advertise it. Anybody that's contacted any councilman or the mayor or the city staff, we ought to contact them personally, let them know what they're doing. I'd be happy to take it.
Yeah, I don't care when you do it. I think staff just needs to set a day and a time and
And just make sure that everything's out of there by the 15th.
Well, we're gonna end up, Randy's guys are gonna end up doing some of that work anyway, because there's not gonna be much that gets taken out in this deal. It's,
There's about 6 things that might sell. And
I
I'd
think
be
you're probably right.
surprised.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
So can we say Monday night, like from 4 to 7?
Sounds good. And I'd be happy to take that shift if somebody wants to give me
yeah,
the key.
I'll go up there too.
I'll go with you then.
Let's say bids due by Wednesday.
Sounds good.
We'll sell
Wednesday
it
at
to the
close,
highest-
Wednesday at close of business, 5.
Wednesday at 5.
Yeah.
And it will go to the high bidder at that time.
And then how long will they have for removal then?
Till Saturday.
Till Saturday.
Yeah, you can give them that next weekend.
Who's gonna go up there and let them in?
Well, we'll figure that, I mean, I can, I don't know,
Okay.
there's,
If you give them past Friday at 5, then who's gonna go up and let them in?
Yeah, well,
I'm just saying.
Probably leave the door open on Saturday and tell them to
Okay.
help themselves because there's nothing in there.
Yeah, that's not a bad
I mean,
idea.
I don't
seriously,
care, it's just you're gonna have to have an
Nobody,
answer.
if somebody takes something out of there, who cares?
You don't have to haul it to the dump.
that's
Unless they ain't going to the dump.
It saves
And
that.
and is the school and the scouts and everybody, are they done now?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Thanks, Randy.
Maybe we need to call the school, though. I didn't know all those registration records. I don't know if they get something that they gotta keep, or if we just put them in the dumpster.
where were those at?
On the second
Upstairs in our
floor.
room, from the year 99 and
Really?
2000, all kinds of registration records.
Well, and does it have personal information on it? They probably have to
Got
shred it if it
Name of the
does.
kids, and just basically address, name, and
Name,
what
sex,
grade,
age,
and-
oh.
what their lunch, what they're paying for lunch. That was all they had on those registration forms. There's a pile of them, so. Okay, sounds like a game plan.
Sounds excellent.
Anything else for utilities? Sanitation.
I don't have anything, but Randy was telling me some good news about the lift station this morning.
They've got all the piping replaced down in the dry well. They still have to set that new manhole and air relief valve outside, but they're starting to get all the dirt put back. And, the project it's real close to being finished. They did an excellent job. I have no complaints with these guys, and everything went really well. So I'm hoping within the next week or so, they'll have all the site work done, and it'll just be a matter of, putting that manhole in when it comes, so.
And that's being built, that'll be a while.
Yeah, and I haven't talked to them to find out for sure how long it is. That kind of stuff's all special order when they make the manhole specifically for each project. It's not like there's 100 of them sitting out there, and so, but I really expect it all to be done before Christmas time, so.
Great.
Anything else for sanitation? There's staff reports. Kelly, you got anything? Leslie?
Oh, we had another wellness event today at the fire station. Had 10 employees attend. Next week, we have another wellness seminar, and then December 10th, we start one that runs for a month about maintaining We're waiting during the holidays. Next week, we're going to have on the agenda the wellness program for 2013.
It was a good, good wild game feed today.
It was
I
good.
thank Randy for supplying the meat. Nancy, what you got to report?
Hi.
Figured I'll throw you in on this.
Okay.
Other staff
Other
reports.
staff report.
My name is Nancy Snod. I'm the
sit down and
account
pull that
manager
thing
with
down.
Alliant Energy. Thank you. Thank you.
Pull that mic down a little bit. I don't know why it's always up
I always
there.
feel like I'm on The Price is Right with these little microphones. We like to touch base with you periodically through the year. Dan and I will meet and review things, but we do like to come before council about once a year just to kind of check in and let you know about some of the things that we've been working on, and also to hear your concerns and see just where we can make our partnership even stronger. Our operating presence, as you're all aware, is at 527 South Roosevelt Avenue. We have 48 employees that work out of that office, including the management and field personnel. Also, we do operate the Burlington Generating Station at 4282 Sullivan Slough, and we have an additional 44 employees that work out of that location. Some of the things that we also like to communicate are the projects that we're working on and the investments that we've made in this community. And since 2002, the infrastructure investments for electric have been $531,277, and that was 2002 through 2009. I know we've had some projects since then. They just didn't make it into my calculations here. Also, on the natural gas side, we've spent $760,000, so that's $1.2 million in infrastructure investments in this community. We're also quite a significant taxpayer. In West Burlington, we've paid $182,000 in taxes, and that would have been for the fiscal year 2009-2010. And then in Des Moines County, we paid just under $2 million, $1.97732 in taxes. Some of the other ways that we like to support is through our foundation, through our corporate contributions, and through our tree programs. I think the tree programs are really something that I get excited about, because trees, they grow up and they cool things down, and they look beautiful, and they increase property values, and we could talk for a long time about the benefits of trees, and we're happy to support programs like this within the community. And between branching out and Operation Relief in cooperation with the DNR, we have invested $21,000 in trees, planting more than 200. The energy efficiency programs in this community are also very well subscribed to by the residents and the industry. I personally work with the larger industries in this community, both Vista Bakery and also Great River Medical Center. Vista Bakery, you may have seen the article in the Hawkeye. They did a very significant lighting retrofit that's going to save them a lot of money, and that will, of course, make their plant even stronger fiscally. And we were able to support their energy efficiency project with a rebate for $171,000 this year. Also, Great River Medical Center, we are working with them on a lot of projects, and they have really engaged, and I look forward to seeing the Klein Center open, because they will realize a nice rebate when that comes online as well. And our foundation has been really engaged, and this year I had the pleasure of supporting the fundraiser that your fire department engaged in of their own accord. What was it? Was it pancakes, Chief?
Pancakes.
Pancakes. So we had a matching grant for the money that you were able to raise yourself for your projects. And that's really, I think, something that I was glad to see you submit for that. You know, I heard with interest your remarks about the Explorer Group, and if that's a 501c3, I think that would be another great candidate to take a look at maybe some sort of project for them, because those are the types of things that we really want to get behind to help you support as well. I will certainly take your concerns about the street lights and the delay of the repairs back to the team. I think if we can also, you know, help you learn how to use the system, that might shorten up that repair a little bit. The guys are committed to keeping things looking good, and it always helps to know where the problems are. So if you can share that with us, then certainly we're here to work with you on that. And can't think of anything else. Would you have anything else for me?
Only at Vistas in Burlington.
It is right across that line. Well,
But
I'll
the other
bet you some of
bakery next door is in
okay.
West Burlington.
Now, I'll bet you though, Vista, they've got employees that live in this town, I guarantee you
Oh, yeah.
that, so. All right.
How many crews did you send to Sandy's?
Company-wide, there were a lot of guys. I want to say almost 100, but that would have included guys from Wisconsin as well. In Keokuk, I'm just going to name them by name because I'm really proud of these guys. We sent John Brennan and a guy named Joe Kite. We also sent Jack Fry out of Fort Madison. And here, Tom Breck went, and so did Jeff Denz. And I'm missing somebody.
Jason Waste.
Thank you. Yeah, I wouldn't have done well if I'd have forgotten Jason. So we're really proud of those guys, and they did an awesome job. And under some really rough conditions, I read an article that ran in a competing paper, the Daily Gate City. They featured an interview with the returning crews, and they described sleeping on cots in a semi-truck. And people said, well, at least they had some place to sleep because there's been storm response before that didn't have those luxurious accommodations. So,
But Tom's didn't fit too well on a cot.
I bet not. Yeah. For people that don't know, he's
Hanging
right.
over.
It's pretty tall. So,
Well, tell me, thanks a lot.
thank you. Thank you very much.
The report. Okay, this time I'll open up the floor to anyone wishing to address the council. Ma'am?
I have a question.
Come up here and state your name, please, and address.
My name's Delassa Richmond. I live at 421 West Burlington Avenue, and I've been having an ongoing problem with my neighbor. The latest is he doesn't seem to rake his leaves other than the front and the side yards, which all end up in my yard because I've got a lower backyard. And like I said, this is just an ongoing problem. And I'd like to know what I need to do to possibly get the council to look at a city ordinance as far as leaves. If your grass is over 6 inches tall, then somebody gets a hold of you and tell you have to take care of it. But leaves can be 2 feet deep and nothing needs to be done, and I think we need to look at it. I have talked several times with Mike Heim and once with Dan Gifford, and according to Mike, there's several, I believe he was word to use, others in the city that's got the same problem. So what do I need to do?
Well, let me start. First of all, it seems to me like you got a neighbor's dispute, and I don't want to get the city involved between a neighbor's dispute.
Okay.
Never have, never will. That's something that you need to hash out amongst yourselves. You know, either get along or don't get along, or totally ignore each other.
Okay,
As far
that's
as
fine.
leaves go, it's going to be pretty hard to control. You know, how do you tell if a leaf is from your tree or from somebody else's tree?
Well, it doesn't matter which tree they come
The
from.
difference between leaves and grass is the grass grows on your property.
True.
The leaves are going to get blown off of your property.
True.
Depending on what kind of wind is, you know. When we've got a strong north wind, my leaves are blowing down the street to somebody else's house. When there's a strong south wind, I'm getting leaves off of somebody else's house. I mean, it's just.
And again,
There's
all
no
of
way
that-
to make an ordinance.
All of that is understandable, but if somebody does not rake their leaves, then that's where the problem is. If God wants me to have the
We can't make somebody
leaf,
rake leaves. How
well,
do you make somebody rake leaves?
you can make people mow yards if the grass is
Yeah,
too
we
tall.
can, but how do you make somebody rake
Okay,
leaves?
and that's fine because there's always a plan B, so I guess I'll have to move to plan B.
I don't know what Plan B is, but,
Well.
you know, it seems to me it's something that you need to hash out amongst yourselves.
There's no talking to the guy. Anyway, like I said, there's been several issues. He's more concerned with what's going on in my yard than what's going on in his yard. So like I said, if I can't get a city ordinance regarding the leaves, even though there's several citizens that's got the same problem, then there's always something else that can be done.
I think you'd be hard pressed to find any citizen in this beautiful community full of trees that doesn't have that same problem. Leaves blow all
You
over
mean to tell
town.
me everybody in this town has got a neighbor that refuses to rake his leaves?
I think everybody in this town has a neighbor that has a tree. I think you've got a big old tree in your backyard
I
that
sure
probably
do.
has leaves that fall into somebody else's
And
yard.
I'm not saying the leaves that's falling out of the trees. If God wants me to have that leaf in the neighbor's yard, that's fine.
Right.
But after it falls, and, you know, property owner should, he cleans his
Well,
front side
the
yard.
mayor said it best. We're not going to sit here and get
Well,
into
like I
this
said, I
dispute.
wanted to at least address you all with
Sure.
it, because like I said, there's other ways to,
And I could probably sit there and finish it. I have a huge yard. I do not have one tree in my yard.
you guys are missing
I
the point.
have, no, I don't. All the leaves blow in my yard.
Well,
Do I take care of them? Yes. Do I blame the neighbors? No. Is because the act of God blows that wind, blows that leaf down in the fall time. I don't have anything to do with it. I don't expect them to do it because some of these people work late and that stuff in there, and they don't have time. And even if it gets blown, it's all in one same day.
okay.
So if it gets blown over, I take care of it. And like I said, I don't have a tree. Would I like them to come over and do my yard? Sure. But
Well, you know.
I'm not gonna tell them that. So,
Again, like I said, y'all's missing the problem. It's not falling leaves, it's somebody that's using Mother Nature to continually,
it always has been that way.
Well-
It's just the leaves just blow. And they come from all over, and I got 4 areas that they come into. And then if the ladies have problems next to them, because they're elderly
well, and
I
see,
go
that's
over
another
there,
thing.
And I
I've
go
got,
over there and help them.
I've probably got 20 years on the neighbor, and I've got medical problems. And there's only one of me. But like I said, I can handle it. So thank you. Like I said, I just wanted to present it to y'all first.
Thank you.
I mean, it doesn't take much effort to be a jerk. It takes more effort not to be and try to get along, so.
Anyone else wishing to address the council?
That went well.
New business. Item number 1 is to consider appointing representative to Southeast Iowa Regional Planning Commission for the Board of Directors. My 1-year term is up again. If you'd like me to continue, I'd be happy to do that.
So moved.
That motion. We won't even,
Because none
we
of
won't
us are
even
rushing to
discuss
take
it.
it.
Motion with the support. Is there any discussion?
Very much appreciate your doing that, Mayor.
No discussion.
Got a lot of things going on out there. Roll call.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 2 is consider payment to Snyder and Associates for engineering services related to West Lift Station upgrade in the amount of $374 for the lift station and $9,920 for the sign work on Public Works facility.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion?
Randy, have you got any more drawings or anything from them? on
We
the-
were gonna have a meeting today, but we rescheduled it for next Thursday. We're pretty much through with the concept phase and starting on the design phase
Okay.
right now, so.
Excellent.
They're gonna have some more stuff for us next week, and they had a revised cost estimate. I think Dan said it was 3.8.
3.8 something.
Your city shop,
Yeah.
city shop. Well, and this is something that, of course, we want to help you with the
Sure.
efficiency investments.
I gave you the contact information of the firm a while ago, so you should be.
Follow up with that guy. All right. And also with the lift station, if you're investing in any new pumps, motors, things like that, we should have a look and see if they meet the efficiency levels. We might be able to help.
Okay.
them a little bit.
On our upgrades, we didn't replace any motors or anything,
A
so.
lot of times, you know, if there's just infrastructure like that, there wouldn't be anything.
Okay.
I don't have rebates for manhole covers.
Roll call.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 3 is to consider payment to French Reniker Associates for engineering services related to Broadway reconstruction project in the amount of $7,854.68.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion? Roll call.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Stewart.
Motion carried. Item number 4 is consider approving contract with Iowa Illinois Taylor Insulation for the asbestos abatement at the middle school in the amount of $27,120.
Motion to approve.
Support.
There's such a vast difference in
Motion with
prices.
support. Yeah, they said it would be, the guy that did it.
Yeah, he said sometimes he has bids 10 times the other bids with these.
That's crazy.
So those are closer together than some of those, but,
Those are a lot cheaper bids than we were originally kicking around at one point in time.
yeah, and, this guy really wanted it, and he says because he bid that so low, he's gonna get in, get out as fast as possible, so.
Hope he takes all the asbestos.
Yeah. Well, he's the one that decides if it's all gone, so.
Yeah, he's gotta certify the DNR, it's all gone, so.
Okay. Roll call.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 5 is to consider purchase of non-uniform clothing for the fire department, the amount of $1,820.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any discussion?
Just curious, Chief, are you specifically excluded from,
Yeah, I can't do anything with this. It has nothing to do with me. If I purchase one, I'll have to purchase it myself. Yep, it doesn't, can't get anything out of this, sorry.
okay.
I do a lot of work under the safer and recruitment and stuff for the, getting the new probationary firefighters and things, but I
But
get
you're,
nothing for my
you're
time.
specifically,
I'm specifically
Signaled out.
excluded from anything with this grant for the
Okay.
next 4 years. Yep, I have to buy it myself, so if I do, I'll buy a different color or a different type or something, so it'll look like that I did something other than what came in with everybody else's. Yep.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 6 is to consider purchase of Provision video system for the police department. The amount of $3,053 for the unit, and installation cost would be under $1,000.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Support, any discussion? Roll call.
Stewart.
Aye.
Lees.
Aye.
West.
Aye.
Crowner.
Aye.
Raleigh.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 7 is to consider the purchase of additional licenses for the police department shield and remote access programs. Guess we've got 4 licenses, and
Correct.
when you and Richard and patrol
we-
officers are using all 4 of them, then we can't get into shield.
Yeah, we have, and that happens quite regularly, and the more the officers are using it, the more we're getting license errors, and we're waiting turns to get into it. And more information now, we found a way to get it out to the car that's simple and easy. The more information the officer has on the street, which is from our own local records system, the better they can use discretion. And the better for officer safety, but the bad part about that is then all of a sudden, we need more licenses for that portion of it.
To be legal.
To be legal. Yeah, the machine will shut down if more than 4 people operate it, and we're getting more and more of those all the time. License errors that pop up on the screen.
Where you're taking the money by not using the money for scanners, and I've had a conversation with Brad, he said you're good with scanners right now.
Well, they have been breaking down. We replaced 2. One was the fire, so we replaced 3 altogether. We took one unit out. I think we'll be fine. Okay. To make it long story short, I think we'll be fine, but they are fairly old, but new scanner does exactly the same thing as the old scanner.
And you got 2 in reserve, so cross that bridge if it presents itself.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion with support. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Please.
Aye.
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 Carried. Old business. Mr. Graham's request to have his, be able to keep chickens and goats and
Cody's Animal Farm.
And I asked
Well,
that be put
I
on
think what I
there.
said the last time, that we've had a couple of people in town that's had, you know, horses, kept horses, and they're kind of outside of the main city limits, and we've also had some people that's requested pot-bellied pigs that were right by the elementary school that were there for a year or two, and it wasn't ever any problem, and nobody seemed to have a problem with it being way out there, you know, at the edge of.
And I don't have a problem with it, I just wondered what went on, or if there was any discussion at all. And I guess my question is, can that be rescinded? I mean, if there's a problem with it, can we make that go away, or does that person get that for
The ordinance
life?
says that they gotta request a letter, and it has to be approved by council. So I guess you could rescind if there was
You will
ever.
also have to follow chapter 55
Yeah.
of the Animal Protection and Control Ordinance. like
That's in
housing
the
them and
ordinance.
Maintaining them.
And I think the only thing I said anything about it, just if you wasn't gonna have a lot of chickens and cut them up and.
No, he can't
same
kill
way
them.
with the goats and that stuff in there that I mentioned the last meeting, so.
And then, I mean, because of our minute situation, the minutes say, he sent us a letter and we approved it. I assuming there was some discussion that
Oh,
night.
I called him.
Okay,
She talked to Kelly on the phone a couple
Okay.
of times.
okay.
Main
So-
reason I wanted to talk to him about his neighbors is, did you,
Right.
and yes, he did, and I talked to the neighbors, and yes, he did have
In
communication.
his letter, he said that he was also going to hope to have sheep someday. Did we approve that? The minutes just say we approved chickens and goats, but what about the sheep issue? Is that something he'd have to come back to us for then? Is that what?
It probably should say sheep in there too, because they didn't exclude anything that was in his
Nobody
letter.
excluded anything that was written in the letter. So imagine the letter, you know, the
During the
approval
meeting,
was
I-
And
given.
again, I don't
for the
care, I
sheep,
just,
yeah.
I had one person ask me a question about it, and I didn't know because I missed the meeting, and that's my fault, but
The nuisance ordinance would kick in if he starts causing problems with the neighbors and the neighbors start complaining. Mike can go out and say, hey, you need to stop whatever is bothering the neighbors. And at that point, you could.
I like
do we
throwing-
have the right to rescind that if we needed to?
I like throwing it on Mike, that's good.
I don't know whether the code says that, but I'm guessing if you approve it, you can unapprove it.
If we approve for somebody to have a horse, does that mean they can always have a horse forever?
Till we have a
The code
problem.
doesn't say anything any different. The code doesn't say that you have to come annually or says, or it doesn't say anything about council being able to get rid of it either, but I'm just saying, because you approve it, you should also have the right to unapprove it. But the code doesn't say that
I
specifically.
think it doesn't limit it to the property owner. I think if it was sold, somebody
And
would
it'd be in the zoning area, so if you had a housing development that started going out there, then the zoning would say no.
So if somebody buys the empty field next to that brand-new house where we had the people with the dog issue, that there's a big empty field there, and part of that was for sale not very long ago. Somebody buys that and develops houses there. Now, those people don't want goats and chickens in their backyard. Is that something we can visit again, or have we now given that guy permission for life to do that? And it's just a question.
Well, wouldn't he be grandfathered in at that point?
I would think so.
I would think that you've given this gentleman permission to have them there.
I'll ask Mitch, how about that for an answer?
You move in next to the airport,
I would,
you can't complain about the airplanes.
It's right here, livestock. It is unlawful for a person to keep livestock within the city except by written consent of the council or except in compliance with the city's zoning regulations. So if it was to become residential out there, the zoning regulations would probably fit in for residential area. And I would imagine if you give them written consent, you can also take it away
okay,
if there's ever a problem arises.
okay. Just wanted, thanks.
I'd be happy to spend a couple $100 and find out for sure if you want to.
I'm not saying you have to do that, I just would kinda like to know where we stood when we giving permission for goats and chickens, does he get sheep? And can he have 100 sheep, or can he have 10 sheep, or,
During the meeting, they only talk specifically about chickens and goats.
Yeah, I don't remember talking about sheep at all.
But
There
the
was-
letter
there
says
was-
sheep.
the sheep.
Yeah,
Sheep was in the letter,
I think it was too, yeah.
so I can change the minutes to include sheep, or I can leave it at that. I think in the letter that I wrote to him, I included sheep as,
You and Dan figured out, but I think there's some clarification, Mr. Gifford.
Because the letter said he would later on would possibly
I just think
have
there's some
sheep, so-
clarification needs to be done.
And at any time, the nuisance ordinance is pretty broad, that can kick in and you can make them, they reduce the numbers or whatever to make him get more into compliance.
Okay,
You might always be able to have a couple of chickens, but
all right.
if he has a whole bunch of sheep and it becomes a problem, we can certainly make him reduce that number if he's causing problems with the neighbors.
Well, because we just removed some chickens from up here in West Burlington earlier this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Over on Ruth Ellis Street.
roosters or chickens?
There was both there.
They did not have.
Oh,
permission to
yeah.
have them
No,
in
they
the-
didn't
Yeah.
have permission.
I remember now. Yeah.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Anything else? I got one thing, I think you all probably received the invitation for the Colonel's luncheon. It's gonna be on the 13th out at the IAAP plant. There's also a tour for anybody who wants to go on the tour, but you gotta RSVP by the 7th. So if you wanna go, call Dan or drop me a note with the name and birth date and address. That's what they always request. RSVP them tomorrow or by Friday, well, tomorrow, or by Friday the latest. Don't have anything else. Anyone wishing to address council matters we did discuss or didn't discuss tonight? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Randy.
Support.
Motion with support. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion's adjourned. Meeting's adjourned.